Well, the shocking betrayal of our ally Israel by President Biden in announcing that the U.S. would not deliver already agreed upon weapons to Israel in their fight for survival has caused even some responsible Democrats to finally break with Biden and his disastrous and double-dealing policies. Just one day after Biden spoke at a Holocaust remembrance event at the Holocaust Museum, in which he pretended to be Israel's best friend, he then turned the next day into Jihad Joe, the president who, for a few Muslim votes in Michigan and Minnesota, declared that because he didn't approve of Israel going into Rafah, he was going to withhold arms sales to Israel. Now, keep in mind that Congress has already approved those sales, and the Democrats in Congress, remember, they impeached Donald Trump because they said he threatened to withhold aid to Ukraine, which he didn't even do. While Jihad Joe has been photographed shaking the hand of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he was using his other hand to take a knife and stab the Israeli Prime Minister and the Israeli people straight in the back. How on earth does Joe Biden feel emboldened to tell Israel how to fight its war for survival against the murderous barbarians of Hamas? Let's remember Biden's brilliant military strategy proved to be an utter disaster in the pullout of Afghanistan, resulting in the deaths of 13 Americans and leaving stranded hundreds of other Americans left to fend for themselves after the Biden administration broke all of its promises to leave no one behind. And many people forget that when President Obama approved the Navy SEAL operation to kill Osama bin Laden, the only, and I mean the only person in the Situation Room that did not vote to carry out that mission was Joe Biden. His batting average on foreign policy decisions wouldn't qualify him for Little League, much less the majors. But what happened in the minds of our other allies, like Taiwan, Japan, Great Britain, when they saw that with Joe Biden as head of our nation, our word is dirt? That revelation was also going to reverberate with our adversaries. Now they're going to see us as weak and unwilling to keep our simple promises. Israel has never asked us to fight for them or even with them. Not ever. Americans have never put boots on the ground in Israel to fight. We've sold them arms so they can defend themselves against enemies like Hamas. I never thought, however, we'd have a president who would sell our honor and renege on what Biden and his team kept calling our ironclad commitment to Israel. But here's the trouble. By giving in to the demands of the terrorists, we just invite more outrageous assaults staged against Jews and, frankly, for that matter, against Americans. America used to never negotiate with terrorists. Now Joe Biden isn't merely negotiating with them, he's surrendering to them. And he has failed to demand that Hamas release the 5 American citizens who are hostages and who have been hostages since October the 7th. While tragic that any civilians have died in Gaza as Israel has sought out these Hamas terrorists, those deaths, those civilian deaths in Gaza, are the direct result of Hamas forcing civilians, including children, to act as human shields around their military structure and around their hidey holes because the Hamas fighters are too cowardly to fight without hiding behind women and children. And despite extraordinary efforts by the Israelis to avoid the deaths of civilians, Hamas has made that impossible. Never forget, Israel is not in a fight to take over land or the assets of Gaza. They don't want them. Never forget that Hamas has repeatedly stated that it will continue to carry out massacres like that on October the 7th until every Jew is dead and Israel is no more. Israel is being threatened with its very existence. And Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israeli people have made it clear that with or without the help of the U.S., they will fight, if necessary, with their fingernails to protect their people and their country. And I want you to know I am one American who prays our country will be led by those who want to stand with Israel, not those who want to stand with the butchers who make up the terrorist group Hamas. Not now, not ever.